Taking a sip of water. By the way, drink water. Yeah, we'll continue. We'll just split this into two parts. Let us rewind to a moment in the recent past. This scene took place on a Saturday morning in early December. The third period over just before lunch, the only activity that remained before the scholastic day ended was homeroom. Okay, so we're about to see some important specific shit. Two of Class C students, Soujyuro Shizuki and Hosuke Kinomi. Remember, we're standing outside on the balcony overlooking the schoolyard. They were stuck waiting for their homeroom teacher, Mr. Kazuki Yamashiro, and could not leave until he arrived. Yeah, Yamashiro, okay, that's right. That was the teacher's name, not that other guy from Sojiro's apartment. The rest of their classmates were chatting idly in the classroom. Oh, and there's Vice Prez on the far right. Class A's Tobimaru Tsukiji was killing time alongside them. The listless trio discussed their weekend plans as they leaned on the veranda's railing. Oh yeah, our boy considers Soujyuro like a friend.
木の実はベアでアルバイトか?
The bear.
バッカ、誰が日曜まで働くかったよな。明日はほら、B 組の子たちと遊びに行く 予定だったんだけどな。なんかうちから出られねえ。
I'm sure they are. Yep.
それはつまりまた振られたのか。
うわ、直撃！言いづらいことをまっすぐ言うよね、しずきくんってば。
A man's trying.
そりゃ毎日てめえのバカ面見てれば、ひよこだって振られるって言葉を覚えるだろう。
Damn.
自滅するのは勝手だけどな。くれぐれもその字に変な遊び教えんなよ。
Holy shit.
はあ？そりゃ殿下の方じゃねえの。気ぃつけろよ、しずき。築地はマジで腹黒いからよ。こいつの頭の中はほら、あれ、ゴミ捨て場の張り紙？あんな感じだから、くっきり使えるもんと使えないもん分けてんだよ。
That's probably true. I think it actually said that from his perspective during the end of chapter 1.
ああ、それは知ってる。
Uh-huh.
ところで唐突に思ったんだが、飛び丸の中じゃ木の実はどういう扱いなんだ？
Boy, you're gonna ask him that right in front of him?
そうだな。粗大ゴミ回収は金でももらわねえと割り合わなくなるんじゃねえか。国が無料で回収するのはそろそろおしまいってとこ。
What does that even mean?
はあ？何言ってんのお前。使い古しのタンスとか高く売れるじゃん。
That's true.
俺みたいな開封即使用みたいな男がこれからのトレンドなわけでしょ。ほら、コンビニで売ってる使い捨てカメラとか大人気だし、ようやく流行が俺の消費文明に追いついたと。
My man's a scrapper.
じゃあ木の実はバイトと。飛び丸は？
来るからね、ちゃんと俺の時代。
俺はちょい仕様だ。親父の客が来てるんで接待しなきゃならん。街の案内をしてくれとさ。
Sounds important.
聞けよ、人の話聞けよ。あのよ、俺は妹の相手してやるだけなんだよ。隣のクソ中華飯店の手伝いなんかしねえよ。
Wow, just like Arihiko, right? Got a little sister.
その字は明日もバイトか？
Sono
い
G.
や、そ
What
れは
is
一
his
日空いて
name?
る。今日はこれから遊園地でアルバイトだけど。
I didn't process it fully before. Sono G. Oh, at the amusement park.
それって魔のキッズイランド？
Magic Kitsy Land.
タフだね、しずき。あそこのバイトは柔道部の連中でも値を上げるって話じゃんか。
Damn, even the judo folk.
なんと、まさか猫黒の荷物運びより辛い。
X-Fed. Wow. Good job, Nasu.
いや、そこまではよく。しかし、山城の野郎おっせえな。見ろ、隣の B 組すらお帰りになられてるぞ。
だな。仕方ねえ。面倒だが呼んでくるか。その字を遅刻させるわけにはいかねえし。
Sono G. And as if by design, the moment Tobimaru Tsukiji stood up wearily from the balcony railing, the school's PA system chime rang.
2年 C 組の静木宗十郎くん、山城先生がお呼びです。至急職員室まで来てください。繰り返します。2年 C 組の
An awkward silence fell upon the three. After a long 5 seconds, Sojiro said goodbye and headed back inside.
面白いことねえな。誰か校庭にミステリーサークルとか作ってくんねえかな。
I feel like that's gonna change real soon. I mean, we just saw some crazy shit. Wow, Alice's magecraft is crazy. Can you even call it magecraft at that point? Like, what is that? Is she a magician? Like, holy fuck. Like, from the puppet's perspective, it felt like something out of reality, something alien, unlike any other magic they've experienced or know of. And that's based on, like, their master's knowledge. Although, hard to say. It's at least the knowledge that they were imbued with as far as, like, basic magecraft and just your typical magecraft goes. But still, like what? My god, I still can't get over that. Inomi grumbled, slouching his shoulders and succumbing to his lethargy.
他人の妄想力に期待すんなよ。
Lethargy?
刺激が欲しいならてめえでイベントを起こせ。ほら、クラス分け発表の時よろしく。青崎に突っかかればすぐだぜ。
That sounds fun, but ill-advised.
蘇るトラウマやだよ。会長の大立ち回りは面白いのを通り越して恐ろしいよ。善良な一男子生徒としちゃ美少女が転校してくるだけでいいんだよ。
Red-blooded, red-haired. Hot transfer student.
まあ普通の子じゃつまんないからハリウッドのプロデューサーとかイギリスの歌姫とか。
Jennifer Lawrence.
どんなくくりだそりゃ。そこは火星のお姫様あたりにしとけよ。
A babe from Mars. In comes Alice.
それと2年 C 組の皆さんへ山城先生から伝言です。山城先生は訳あってホームルームを欠席しますので、各自勝手に下校しちゃってくださいね。それではでは。
What? They canceled class. And they wanted Soujyuro specifically. What is
以
happening?
上、放送室からお知らせしました。
What is
ど
happening?
うよこれ。山城新車買ってからフリーダムすぎね。このままではあの真新しいセルビアに俺のギザ銃がうなりかねん。
Damn, that's fucked up, bro.
鍵穴にガム程度にしとけ。教師の発給はマジ同情に値するからな。
If you're gonna be a dick to him and his car, at least like be more cost conscious of it. That's very nice of him. The two frenemies returned to the classroom, complaining all the while. Their concern for their mutual friends summoned to the faculty office completely out of mind. Yeah, speaking of, hello? What is happening? Something
納得
happened?
いきません。生徒のアルバイトは認められています。学校公認の職場であるなら、社会経験の一環として推奨する
The
と
jig is
校
up.
則にもありますが。
The jig is up, Soujyuro.
そうなんだけどね。彼の場合やりすぎなのが問題なわけで。
So dude, okay, he does have more than one job. He probably does actually have 17 jobs, like whatever the fuck he said before.
仮にもし認可していない労働基準法に反してそうなところで働いてたら困るでしょ。うちも
Yeah.
彼も。
How'd they find out about the amusement park? The volatile tension between the ruthless student council president and the easygoing modern language teacher permeated the room. So I guess that's why he can't attend class. He has to sort out this situation with Soujyuro. It's that important. Praying to be spared from the impending confrontation, the other teachers hurriedly relocated to the meeting room. By the time Mr. Yamashiro noticed this, the only other person in the room was the student council president, Aoko Aozaki.
逃げたか。ひどいなみんな。怖いのは僕に押し付けてばっかりだもんな。
話の続きです、先生。仮に彼が指定以外のアルバイトをしているとしたら、それは彼の要求に学校側が応えていないからではありませんか。下宿先の家賃を奨学金で賄えとは言いませんが、 時間の許す限り働きたいという要望は考慮すべきです。
Yeah, honestly. Like if he needs that money, then he should be accommodated.
指定外のアルバイトを疑うのなら、まず働き先は1生徒につき1件だけという規則を改めてください。
Look at Aoko advocating for Soujyuro. After hearing her out and realizing there was no way she would back down, Mr. Yamashiro hung his head. This was supposed to be easy. The plan was to call in the student rumored to be working multiple jobs, confirm whether the rumor was true, and if so, give him a warning and some guidance, then head to lunch with the knowledge that all was right with the world. The student council president, who was coincidentally in the faculty room at the time, had heard the entire issue and decided to call out this injustice. Wow. As far as Mr. Yamashiro was concerned, she was in the right, and he was well aware of the aforementioned student's situation. Personally, he would have liked to help, but among the faculty, he was just a new kid on the block. He wanted to stay on the vice principal's good side and at the very least not lose his job, as badly paid as it was. And oh man, this poor guy. Like, he wants to do the right thing. He wants to be, like, good politically with, you know, the upper, the management, not management, but, you know, the higher-ups, the vice principal, keep his job. Man's just
これ
trying to
ばかりは
live.
ね、副教頭先生直々の注意なんで、僕も助けてあげられないんだよ。
それでしたら落としどころがあればいいんですね。
ん？
The student council president removed a document from her bag. It was a document that had been brought up in the morning's faculty meeting, bringing a host of headaches with it.
青崎くん、それは。
Wait, what is this?
はい、愛田協会のボランティア参加の申告書です。
Oh.
今月も希望者ゼロですね。敬虔なクリスチャンである副教頭先生は
Wow.
さぞお気を悪くしているかと。我が校の生徒には新人が足りんと今朝も嘆かれていたとか。
そうだけど、どうして君が今朝の職員会議の内容を知っているか聞きたいよ。本当。
Mr. Yamashiro scratched his head, but his eyes were smiling gleefully. He had figured out the student council president's objective.
魚心あれば水心ありですか。
Ah, you let him work, I'll get you your volunteers.
教会への奉仕活動はボランティアだけど、きちんと謝礼が出る。あれも形の上では学校側が推奨する社会見学だからね。副教頭先生は参加者が出たことに喜び、加えて
Yorokobe.
その参加希望者がすでに他のアルバイトについていた場合、学校側の認可が2つになっちゃいますね。
Nice.
前例にしてはいい落としどころだと思いますが。
Alright. Mutually beneficial. Very mage of her. Mr. Yamashiro raised his hands in surrender. There were few students able to both raise a complaint and propose a proper solution. Perhaps it was her big sisterly disposition that made this girl so simultaneously feared yet trusted.
よし、その方向で攻めてみよう。うまくいくよう祈ってくれよ。
他力本願は嫌いです。悪巧みに乗ってくれるのならきちんと活躍してください、山城先生。
He is just getting scolded by this kid. With a bow, the student council president turned to leave the faculty room.
ああ、待った。君も残るんだ。今からしずきくんを呼ぶから、ちゃんと面倒見てもらわないと。
Ah, shit. Here we go again.
は？
Huh? The girl's cool eyes narrowed. Unable to process what she had just heard, her expression turned to a scowl.
いや、参加希望者は一人より二人の方がいいだろ。
How is she supposed to avoid her emotions being around him?
青崎くんがフォローしてくれるなら僕も安心だしね。
ちょっと先生。
No.
ああ、放送室2年 C 組のしずき宗十郎くん、至急職員室に来てください。で、放送お願いします。
So is this finally how we get them to reunite? Because Aoko was going to actively avoid her, and you know, Sojiro's doing his thing. We needed some
だから先生。
twist of fate.
いやー、これで万全だ。まさか頭痛の種が同時に消え去るなんて、今日はついてる。
Okay, so this is actually where I stopped in the last recording. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Yoro. Welcome back to more Witch on the Holy Nights. I just want to thank you for watching. Once again, I'm hoping to record a big chunk tonight so I can drop this part and then hopefully a couple more parts over the coming week. Yeah, thank you very much. Let's continue.
ああ、けど青崎くん、ずいぶん親身になってくれるんだね。何？もしかしてああいうのがタイプ？あ、放送士さん、ついでに生徒会長が心からお待ちしていますと付け足して。
Oh, you about to die.
って山城
Ooh. Yeah, he had that coming. He should have known better. It's too bad. We need a new homeroom teacher. Did she really hit him? Golly. The next day, a pleasant Sunday, Soujyuro was awake 2 hours before the time he was supposed to meet her. Oh, it's happening. The true reunion. He's been almost kind of trying to avoid him, but you know, Yamashiro and the circumstances kind of put them back in close proximity. Even more so than they have been. So apparently they have been in some contact, but for this, you know, we'll see where it goes, right? After getting up, he decided to go for a leisurely jog to clear his mind, but lost among his own thoughts, his 30-minute jog turned into almost an hour upon realizing he rushed home. After thoroughly racking his brain over what to wear for the occasion, he decided upon wearing his school uniform.
午前10時、三崎中央公園の東入り口で待ち合わせ。
All right. Yesterday in the faculty room. Oh, when Naoko Ozaki had shared the time and place with him that day, she said it with such pain on her face. Maybe she was fighting a headache at the time.
しかし、
Probably.
青崎の風邪は治っているのだろうか。
Also, what's up with his body? Like, why is his neck bandaged up? I have questions about Soujyuro. He seems otherwise unassuming. Just like a small village kid who, for some reason, had to come live out here. There was a very strange line about him in the last part, I believe, where it said his whole life was full of abnormal things. It wasn't so blatant, but there was something implying that, and I was like, wait a minute. So maybe there's something with him that we'll find out as well, the same way that Aoko is a witch. And apparently he's going to be reborn soon, so we gotta see what's up with that. Soujyuro muttered, his words of concern misguided as they were. In any case, he waited for about 5 minutes. At precisely 10 o'clock, the student council president appeared.
おはよう。いつものことだけど、時間だけはぴったりよね、あなた。
Oh man, I can't wait to see how he breaks... he breaks, how do I say it? Like, he throws her off, and I think it's great. Because she's so poised otherwise.
ひどい顔ね。
I guess when she's not getting
もし
pissed.
かして気分悪いの？
いや、
With your
体調は
face.
いいと思う。
What's wrong with your face? He waved off her concern.
だがしかし、青崎は制服だった。
ええ、学校の行事だもの。当然でしょ？
Yeah, it makes sense. A heavy weight of despondency fell upon Soujyuro's shoulders. The angsting over his outfit for the previous 2 hours had been rendered meaningless just like that. Dude, 2 hours? That's funny. My goodness. The duo, clad in their school uniforms on a day off, walked by the train station. In the beginning, Aoko had made efforts to give Soujyuro a thorough lay of the land, but today she only shared the bare minimum of explanations. This was partly because, surprisingly, Soujyuro had become well accustomed to the town. It makes sense. Which restaurants were good, which shortcuts to use in a rush, and why the nearby bicycle shop was better than a department store by the station if you wanted to buy a bicycle. Things a local would know. But the other reason was that it had dawned on Aoko how the two of them conversing might look to passerby.
話は変わるけど、具体的にどんな労働内容なのか、そろそろ聞いていいかな。
How it might look, huh? Okay. From here on, volunteering at the church meant that the school would tolerate his multiple jobs. Soujyuro had quickly agreed to the tempting offer, nodding like a bobblehead, but as was typical for him, he had failed to consider the content of the proposal. It's probably going to be some tough work. So he had to take on another job to justify his other jobs. Damn.
まあそんなことだろうと覚悟はしてたけど。あなた、間教会は初めて？
Are we about to meet a Akide?
教会なら2回目だ。珍しい建物なんで近寄ったら中の人がタダでお菓子をくれたんだけど。
Nice. It's gonna be Kide in a mustache. Kide Mahoyo. He pondered with all sincerity how exactly a church works. His contemplative posture made him appear the part of the philosopher, but after all his thinking, he concluded, I guess they start taking your money on your second visit? Such was the extent of Soujyuro's concerns.
普通そういうことは子供にしかしないんだけどね、あの教会は。
Wow. Alko sighed at the lost little lamb.
で、どんな人に会ったの？神父？それともシスター？
Shimpu? The priest?
それは綺麗な女の人だった。
Oh.
じゃあユイカさんの方ね。今日会ったらお礼をって必要ないか。あんたのことだからそのあたりはきちっとしてるだろうし。
Sister Yuika. So what does she mean by that?
仕事の話なら簡単よ。学校でやってることと変わらないから。あの教会、規模の割に人数が少ないのよ。
Alright. Alko picked up her pace as they headed for the church. Somehow she seemed like a general invading enemy territory. It made Soujyuro furrow his brows in discomfort. Yeah, they're kind of building this up as something unpleasant, that no one wanted to do it. I mean, who wants to, I mean, you should want to volunteer for your community. But realistically, who wants to on their day off from school, right? Ida Church had a long history. Far from the station, it was a white painted sanctuary nestled between the business and residential districts. As far as Alko could remember, the church as she knew it now was the result of remodeling done 8 years prior. It was practically a cathedral for a town of this size. Incidentally, located next to it was the Misaki City General Hospital. From Alko's perspective, it looked awfully suspicious for the church to take up residence next to the location in the city where the most lives were lost, though the only two who were aware of this opinion were her roommate Alice Kuonji and the priest.
青崎はこの教会に縁があるのか？
I am genuinely curious if we're going to have a holy church person in this. I mean, considering that this is like Nasu's first VN, like I wonder if the prototype of having certain characters representing certain factions. I mean, we don't have anyone saying they're a mage or, mages association. This is witches, right? I'm curious. Maybe we'll get some holy church action. If such a thing existed at the time Nasu wrote this, and I guess was refining it over the years. So, we'll see.
私はこれっぽっちも。もう過去に戻って改ざんしたいぐらい微塵もないけど。
Oh,
う
shit.
ちの父と祖父は長い付き合い。ここの手伝いなんて、忌々しいことに小学生の頃は毎日してたもんだけど。
Oh, she hates it. The more Alko spoke, the more twisted her expression became. Recalling this made her want to grab it by the proverbial collar, give it the proverbial one-armed judo back throw, smash its proverbial head into the proverbial ground, and kick the proverbial living daylights out of its defenseless proverbial torso. Damn. I think we have the episode title. Such was her so-called trauma that if it were anthropomorphized, it would take more than a 5-round beating to satisfy her thirst for vengeance. Jeez. Alright, she does not like coming here.
Oh.
That's the appropriate response to that. It was in this moment, as he became aware of Alko's mood, that Soujyuro began to fear for his safety. Perhaps attracted by the noisy murder of crows outside the church, a woman in a nun's habit emerged from the front entrance. Who is this her?
失礼ですが、どちらのお客様でしょう？
Ooh. New music?
当教会は暴力団関係の方はご遠慮いただいておりますので、日を改める、あるいは生き方を悔い改めた後、社会的な罪を償ってから門をくぐっていただきたいのですが。
Oh, wow, this music. I was gonna say, this nun is not without a sense of humor, but considering it's Aoko, she might be entirely serious.
青崎青子です。シスターユイカ。
まあ、青子さんでしたか。
She didn't know it was Aoko at first. Okay.
驚きました。昼間のうちにあなたが来るのは久しぶりです。
Also, I was gonna say, how does Aoko's hair stay like that? I'm gonna assume it's witch magic. This person...
そうですね。いつもは夜に呼ばれて神父様とだけお話をしていますから、ユイカさんとは。
Called at night to speak with the father.
まあ意外ですね。1年近くまともにお話をしていません。この先だって一度もないでしょうけど。
Soujyuro.
あなたも随分と立派になられたようで、がっかりです。何より今の気配は清らかな少女とは思えないほど悪辣でした。
On the surface, the two exchanged congenial greetings. Unable to read between the lines, all Soujyuro could see were two good friends. He's like, wow, this is great.
今月のボランティアは私とそこの彼です。
Why is this music going so hard?
親愛なる間教会のためですから。10時から3時まで1分の狂いもなくきっかり働かせていただきますわ。
Not a minute more.
まあ、世も末ですが歓迎しますね。
The end times. Whoa.
神の家は万人に等しく開くもの。この際、あなたの内面は見なかったことにしておきましょう。
It's a sassy nun. I like her. The nun flashed a smile that was equal parts elegant and cruel. Keeping up appearances aside, she seemed overjoyed to have able hands to put to work. This music is beautiful. My goodness. I used to play violin when I was a kid. I think it was about like 5 years. And I don't know, at a certain point, for some reason listening to it, the violin hurts my ears. I don't know why. Like the high strings, like the A and E strings, they just hurt my ears. I don't know why. This is so well mixed. It's not unpleasant at all. It's just beautiful. Man, shoutouts to the music people. The mixers and masters. Big shouts. Sister introduced herself as Yuika Suse and thanked Soujyuro, who had volunteered of his own volition. Soujyuro noticed that her eyes were always shut, but not wanting to be rude, especially in front of Aoko, he decided not to pry. Oh. Interesting.
しずきさんとおっしゃるのですね。声のイメージ通り、落ち着いたお名前です。
はあ、それはどうも。
What an interesting compliment. Or just comment. Sister let slip a frown at Soujyuro's ambivalent response to her compliment. Okay.
失礼。名字で呼ばれるのはお嫌いのようですね。宗十郎さんでよろしいですか？
Oh, damn.
いや、どっちでもいいですけど。
ではそのように。ほんと、難儀なことですね。
Goodness. Though the sister's tone was gentle, her words seemed somewhat indifferent. She lacked sight, but she guided the two with certainty in her step. Wow. She's blind. Interesting.
それで、奉仕の内容ですが。
That makes sense because they had to confirm to her that it was Aoko she was speaking to. Because Aoko hadn't spoken yet. She came outside. I see. Got it.
分かってます。クリスマス前だし、面倒な掃除を済ませておきたいんでしょ？ 問題ありません。そういうの得意ですから。
It wasn't their strong suit so much, it was Sojiro's.
では
Wow.
青子さんはかまどの方で精兵の作り置きを、
The wafers.
しずきさんは外に、私どもでは手の届かない箇所の清掃をお願いします。
ちょっと待って。台所にリツカのやつい
Ritsuka?
ないでしょうね。
Hold up.
こんなところであんなのに会うなんてごめんだから。
Ah, shit. We grand order out of nowhere.
リツカは留守です。ですのでどうぞ気兼ねなく。
Damn, it's female Ritsuka. Oh shit. We're doomed. With a dismissive wave, Aoko headed toward the door in the back of the worship hall. She had indicated she was quite accustomed to this church.
しずきさんはこちらに。まずは物置から清掃道具を運んでいただきます。
Alright, let's see how this goes. 10 to 3, Aoko said. The work entrusted to Soujyuro did not require any particular skill. It was window cleaning at its most standard.
窓を全部拭けばいいんですね。
水拭きと空拭き、その後にコートスプレーもお願いします。はしごの高さは足りますか？
あれ、ちょっと足りないっぽいですね。
では届く範囲で結構ですので、よろしくお願いします。
Alright. After the brief exchange, the sister returned to the church. Soujyuro began to wonder if it was out of distrust in him that she was being so curt. Might just be how she is. He understood that it was too soon to glean an answer from their first meeting, but then again such answers always eluded Soujyuro. Left alone but no less encouraged, Soujyuro began cleaning the windows. She's an interesting person. The day's weather was a disappointment once again. It had not gone so far as to rain, but was too overcast to enjoy the sun. Well, this is pleasant. Man, always have to appreciate the music in this game. He leaned against the tall ladder and, beginning with a window about 5 yards from the ground, quietly cleaned. Soujyuro was never the kind of person to mind physical labor. In fact, if there had been a blue sky, this might have been a perfect day off to him. A perfect day off, wow. By the time he finished his third or fourth window, he felt very relaxed and began to whistle. Though 15 feet was an intimidating height, it provided a wonderful view at the same time. Turning toward the town gave Soujyuro a clear view of the tree-topped hill that had previously caught his eye. Ah, the hill.
やっぱり林の中に家があるような。
There sure is. The hill in the woods just outside of town. From here, the forest overlooking the sleepless city looked like a foreign castle. Yeah, look at their man. It stands out so much. It looks like a villain lives there.
あれ？なになに泥棒さん？
Uh-oh, who's this? Is this Ritsuka? Fujimaru? But just then, lost in his thoughts while wiping windows, Soujyuro was pulled out of his trance by someone pacing below him. He looked down and saw a girl, her unkempt clothes otherwise contrasting with her kind visage.
でもちょっと怪盗には似合わないのんびり屋さん風味。
Loosey
どっ
goosey.
ちかっていうとあれかしら。暖炉から現れては微妙にいらないおもちゃを押し付けるセイントみたいな。
Like that one guy.
うわー、私あのヒゲ苦手なのよね。だってどう見ても不法侵入者じゃないあの人。
Yeah. Pretty much. She looked to be in her late 20s. Despite the cold, she was not wearing a coat. She had no purse either, which was rather strange as a woman. And her purse were never far apart. Not that Soujyuro knew this truth quite yet. Based on the fact that none of this seemed to apply to her, one could have easily surmised that she was herself a little loosey-goosey. A few cards short of a full deck, one might also say damn. Alright, narrator.
あ、私ピンときたわ。
She doesn't have a purse, and she's not wearing something warmer. She must be missing a screw. Like, damn, alright, narrator. Shit.
君、
So
ミサコ
judgmental.
のバイトの子？偉いわ。今時の高校生は業者さん顔負けなのね。
She cute. She cute. The girl looked up in admiration to Soujyuro as he stood up atop his ladder.
よーし、私も手伝っちゃおうかな。はしごはまだある？他の雑巾は？どうせだからホースで水をかけるのはどうかしら。こうバーッとケルヒャーとか叫びながら。
Who is this?
罰当たりだけど、それなら少しぐらいは楽しくなりそうじゃない？
This probably is Reitsuka. I don't know. The girl let out a hearty laugh. Her smile glowed like a cactus that had sprouted legs and begun to run about. What a way to describe a smile. Never in my life. That's awesome. Inasmuch as a running cactus could only cause trouble. Yeah, what's that cactus from Final Fantasy? I don't know, I've never played. As Soujyuro anticipated, the girl began to clean without waiting for his approval. Alright, well, thank you.
いえ、教会の前を通ったら人影っぽいのが窓にへばりついてるのが見えちゃったの。昼間っから泥棒とか豪快だなーってちょっと興味惹かれちゃって。
I just love how that was her assumption. If she is a few cards short of a deck, that's probably the reason why. Like, oh, burglar. I have to go. Like, what's up? Hey, you being a burglar over here?
そしたら可愛い子が真面目に労働してたわけ。窓拭きの達人みたいにビッとかっこよく。そんなの見せられたら手伝いたくなるのが人情じゃない？
Okay. Wiping the window next to Soujyuro, the girl continued to chatter cheerfully. Although this was all kinds of suspicious, Soujyuro politely followed her lead, nodding and agreeing as she spoke. Perhaps it was an instinctive camaraderie. He sensed this girl was just like him, always getting the short end of the stick when it came to menial work. Soujyuro has a very interesting sense for people. You can't necessarily read between the lines. There's just some things he just gets. Who knows?
私？いえ、ただの通りすがりよ。
Yeah, apparently, just passing by. Okay.
それより、あなたってのは他人行儀ね。君とは商店街で何度も会ってるのに。
いや、会ってませんよ。
No.
会ってます。君、魚達さんでバイトしてる子でしょ？今週だけでも何度か行ってるもん、私。私は、そうね。花沢って言うんだけど。
Hanazawa.
君の名前は？
Why did you think about that? What do you mean, oh right? You are sus. Omega sus. Hanazawa took a quick glance at the flower bed below in the middle of her introduction and gave him a friendly laugh. Soujyuro's self-introduction, however, was his usual brand of awkward.
宗十郎さん。いい名前ね。古風な感じで。名前に数字が入ってるとなんか日本人って感じがしない？ここの神父さんとかシスターの名前知ってる？エイリとかユイカとかなんか外国風なんだけど。
So the priest is Eiri. Also, what do you want?
エイリさんはともかく、ユイカさんは綺麗な黒髪の女の人でしたよ。
あら、神父さんにはまだ会っていないのね。
No, not yet.
愛田教会の美形神父と美人姉妹って言ったら有名なんだけど。あ、そうか。さては君、最近引っ越してきたんでしょう。しかも一人暮らしと見たわ。
そうですけど、
You
花沢さんすごいですね。さっきからあまりにも的確な当てずっぽうです。
Yes, guessing. This is weird.
いえいえ、推理と言ってくれたまえ。
Okay.
君ぐらいの子がアルバイトに精を出すほどこの町の娯楽は魅力的じゃないもの。遊ぶお金ならバイト一件で賄えちゃうわ。君は物欲のあるタイプじゃなさそうだし。となるとこれはもう生活費のためと考えるのが健全でし
The
ょ。
only wholesome reason. I like that.
まあ学生さんが生活費も学費も自分だけで賄う
No,
なん
it's,
ての
it's really
は
not.
健全じゃないんだけど。
Dude's in high school and he has to pay for all that. Like talk about like growing up early. Like fuck, dude.
いや、そうでもないですよ。働かざる者食うべからずです。
It's That's real old, that's old fashioned. I mean, dude comes from a real small village, huh? So.
そっか。宗十郎さんは若いのに立派ね。私も学生の頃はバイト三昧だったから、少しは君の大変さもわかるわよ。
なんと花沢さんも一人暮らしだったんですか？
ええ。親の反対を押し切ってよその国に留学しちゃったの。あっちには友達もいたから下宿先には困らなかったけど、さすがに食費ぐらいは稼がないとね。けどまあこう見えて肉体労働は苦にならないタイプだし、学院もバイトも楽しい思い出になってるわ。
Sojiro nodded agreeably, so she okay. He appreciates that they're similar. You know, she gets it. But is she telling the truth? I don't know. I don't know. Dignified or not, he could barely hold back the sense of solidarity that was welling up within him. Because I swear, if he tells, like, Aoko about, like, oh, I met this person named Hanazawa. And she's like, there's no one named Hanazawa in this town. Dun dun dun, you know.
これも何かの縁だし、魚達さんではこれからお世話になりそうだし、頼りないだろうけど、相談事があったらぜひ言ってね。精神面で力になるわ。
Alright, that's very nice of you. It's very kind.
ありがとうございます。じゃあ早速ですけど、ここは何をするところなんでしょう
？As Sojiro said here, he pointed at the church. Oh. They don't have a church back in the village. Even Hanazawa was taken aback by his question. Unaware of Sojiro's provincial background, combined with her quick-witted nature, Hanazawa seemingly mistook his question for some kind of sophisticated wit. No, he genuinely doesn't know.
そうね。心の安全を扱っているというのはどうかしら。いえ、安全というよりは鎧？継ぎはぎのバリケード？
Oh, wow.
とにかく本人はちっとも鍛えられないってことは同じよね。あとはパンとワインも分けてくれ
Free
るわね。
bread and wine. Goodness.
無料でですか？
For free?
もちろん。止めるものは勝手に置いていくって話。あとはそっか、これが一番大きいんだけど、収入に税金がかからない。心の安全は扱いが難しいけど、きちんと売り物にできればノーリスクハイリターンよ。
Yeah, that's true.
はあ、
Yeah, he's genuinely
よくわから
asking
ない
like
です
what
け
they
ど、
do.
ピンチの時はここに転がり込めばいいんですね。
Sure.
それはおすすめしないな。
I mean, it depends on the trouble.
ご利用は月に1回、気休め程度にした方がいいと思う。
You know, come talk to the priest. Not a bad idea. The rags squeaked as the two carefree souls continued to wipe down the windows. Whistling as they went, they shined up one window, then another, then another.
そうだ、もう一つあります。
I guess she answered his question pretty well, even, you know, with her own thoughts on things.
ここから見えるあの森、何ですか？
森？あの山の上にある森のこと？
He's about to find out.
ですけど、あれは山じゃなくて丘と言うべきです。
As someone raised in the countryside, Sojiro's pride would not allow for a mound of dirt to be called a mountain. Fair enough, man.
そう？あれはあれで結構登るのに体力使うんだけど、ま、そっちの方がよりらしいわね。
It's a very loose definition of a mountain. It was as if a shadow fell over her till now sunny disposition. Oh. She was undoubtedly a beautiful woman with very lovely features, but as Sojiro looked at her in that moment, her smile melted away, and he saw how disturbed she was at his comments. And when it comes down to it...
あれは丘です。それとほら、ここから煙突みたいなの見えますけど、あれは何ですか？
Looks like a chimney. Sojiro was not one to closely watch people's reactions and fuss over his speech.
あれは本物の煙突よ。 あの森は全部私有地なんだけど、その中にでっかい洋館が建っているの。でも私有地だから地元の人間も入ったことはないんじゃないかしら。
Ah, so no one can just go there normally. I see.
通称クオンジのお化け屋敷ってね。近所の皆さんは気味悪がってるし、あんまり近寄らない方がいいんじゃない？あんな小さな森なのに遭難したとか野犬が出るとか物騒な話には事欠かないから。
So are wild dog sightings considered freaky? Sure, I guess.
野犬って都会にも野犬？
たくさんいるわよ。この教会の裏手の空き地にだっているし、ここの神父さんは物好きだからパンとかあげちゃって、それでワンちゃんの巡回ルートになっちゃってるんでしょ
Their
うけど。
patrol route. Yeah, you always find stray dogs in a city. I guess wild dogs is, I don't know how you would define that, but yeah.
とにかく君子危うきに近寄らずよ。あの森には入らないのが町のルールなの。
He's definitely going up there.
そもそも私有地だし、入ったらおまわりさんを呼ばれちゃって、そのまま交番でお説教タイムなんてあんまり楽しくないでしょ。
It doesn't. Also, but Soujyuro wouldn't just go for no reason. But it's good that he's finding out about it now. Not that he knows Aoko lives there yet, but yeah. Soujyuro nodded along to her story as he stared at the far-off chimney from his vantage point on the ladder. A teeny tiny part of him was curious about that hill because it reminded him of the woods where he grew up, but after reminding himself that it was none of his business, he returned to window washing. I cannot believe that this is chapter 1.5. It feels so important. Like, imagine skipping over this. Goodness. I feel like a lot of important conversation and the whole sequence with Alice, and then this, kind of a big deal. Thanks to Hanazawa lending a hand, they were able to finish the job without a hitch. Between the two of them, they had accomplished a simple but very time-consuming task.
はい、ご苦労様でした。あれだけ砂まみれだった窓が見違えたわね。
He looked so proud. That's great.
どう？これから適当な査点でお茶にしない？宗十郎さんの仕事っぷりに敬意を表して、私が
はい。何か言いました花沢さん？
いや、ごめんなさい。急用を思い出しちゃった。
Oh, okay.
花沢さんはここで失礼するのでした。チャオ。
Alright, Hanazawa, if that is your real name. Very, very kind person. Informative. Okay. Nice meeting you. Very interesting. By the time Soujyuro, who had started putting away the ladder, turned around, he was only able to catch a glimpse of the girl's figure dashing toward the street at lightning speed. She kind of gives, Taiga vibes. Just a little. It was just before 3 o'clock. More than 3 hours had passed since Hanazawa offered to help. Soujyuro watched the girl with many strange faces disappear. For someone who seemed to have been on an aimless walk, Hanazawa had spent a good deal of time with him. Yeah, right? Yeah. Maybe helping Soujyuro out reminded her of something she needed to do.
しずきくん、そっちにいるの？
The student council president popped her head out from the corner of the church.
あ、声かけてごめん。いいから作業に専念。
The sight of Soujyuro putting away a ladder taller than himself seemed to have provoked an emotional response in Aoko. What? Then, in an instant, she rolled up her sleeves and began to approach him.
Oh.
This surprised him more than Aoko's sudden appearance. Ignoring Soujyuro's bewilderment, Aoko promptly began issuing orders.
はしご、横に倒していいわよ。下の方は私が持つから、あなたは上の方をお願い。
Okay, nice. She did all of this so matter-of-factly that Soujyuro began lowering the ladder before he even had a chance to insist that he could do it by himself. Alright. With work finished and the sisters' thank you gifts in hand, the two put the church behind them. What was the gifts? Candy? What kind of candy? Oh, shit. Since Alco apparently had something to do around the station, they decided they would walk together until they got there. Beneath the orange-tinged sky, Alco spoke more as though she was expressing her thoughts out loud and striking up a conversation.
そうか。青崎から見てそうなら少しは嬉しいな。
Yeah, that was very nice to say. Soujyuro gave her an earnest smile. But then again, he had been beaming ever since he received his pay, so the source of his joy was not so clear. Oh, it was just pay. Nice.
あのね、あなたは普段が問題ばっかりなんだから、あんまり調子に乗らないように。差し引きゼロっていうか、まだまだマイナスなんだから。
うん。学校のことは言われると悲しくなる。
Soujyuro hung his head dejectedly. Even if his job had been going well, school was still a bust. Exams were one thing, but even classwork was something he had found himself falling behind in. Yeah, I bet. Dude has multiple jobs. Like, how is he supposed to keep up with school when that's like intended to be your whole life? Like, how many students at the school pay for their, like, all their living expenses? Like, fuck, dude.
青崎は成績悪いやつは嫌いか？
Hate.
まあ、頭というか巡りの悪い人との話は疲れるでしょうね。でもあなたはそれ以前だし、
wow.
そもそも私にはこれっぽっちも関係ないし。
We're not friends. Damn. Okay.
でっかいハンデを何とかするのは先生たちの仕事で、それに応えるのはあなたの役目。アルバイトもいいけど、帰ったらきちんと予習やっときなさいよ。
それはもちろん、学校の人たちはみんないい人だ。
Wow.
そう、ならいいけど、みんないい人？
Everyone. He sees good in everyone. Aoko cocked her head to one side, unsure how this exchange had resulted in that response. She decided to interpret it as Soujyuro simply expressing his gratitude in his own peculiar way.
ところで、参考までに聞くんだけど、あなた他にどんなバイトしてるの？
どこって商店街が多い。魚のお店とか花の店とか。あ、でも昨日は隣町まで遠出したな。遊園地のアルバイト。
Since the only school authorized locations were in the Misaki shopping district, his response was much as she expected. That is, except for the decidedly unexpected last part.
遊園地ってヤシロギの？
Dude went to the next town just to work.
そう。使わなくなった看板とかオブジェとか解体して運び出したんだ。さすがに疲れたな、あれは。
へえ。うん、それは体力勝負でしょうね。
She is surprised. This left Aoko rather impressed. Yeah, I was gonna say surprised and impressed. Transporting unused amusement park machinery was not a job that students did willingly in their free time. Dude needs money.
でもいいな。私、キッチーランドって一度も行ったことないの。三崎町に住んでるのに。
Maybe y'all should go together and bring Alice. Alice deserves it. Aoko looked up in the direction of the neighboring town. From here, you could just barely make out the Ferris wheel. Also, there's no telling what revenge Alice would exact on Aoko, finding out she went to an amusement park and probably enjoyed all kinds of good food and things there. From here, you could just barely make out the Ferris wheel. The round steel frame of the wheel, illuminated by the sunset as it was reminiscent of an old gravestone. Oh, so I guess it's not too far. It's actually closer than I thought.
そうか。それは金銭的な理由で。
Aoko had to stifle her laughter. She knew it would be rude to Soujyuro to burst out laughing, but the remark tickled her funny bone.
そういうんじゃなくて。
I almost laughed too.
単純にあれが開園してから立て込んでて遊びに行く暇がなかっただけよ。お金で解決する問題だったらそれこそ今すぐに行ってるわ。
Aoko showed Soujyuro the envelope that contained the pay from the church. There was nothing sinister about her remark and gesture, but the fact that she did not jump at the chance to go made Soujyuro sad. Oh.
それなら今度行けばいいじゃないか。
Hey, there we go.
ありがとう。けどそれは無理な話。あんたのことだから気づいていないと思うけど、あれ潰れてるのよ。
Wait, what?
廃園になってからもう2年以上は経つんじゃない？
Oh, that's why he was just disassembling things and putting them away. I see.
なんと
He didn't notice that it was shut down? Oh my gosh. I get that he's never been to one before. He probably didn't know how it worked, but wow. It was no wonder there were no customers all the time he was there. Wow. Exasperated that she was at Soujyuro, the student council president seemed to be enjoying herself. Dude worked there and was like, oh, this is how amusement parks are. Completely empty. At this point, she would be yelling things at Soujyuro like, I can't believe you didn't know that. But this evening, this one and only evening, she found it charming. How about that? Cute. Even though they're not friends, according to Aoko. I enjoy their interactions. They parted ways, and Soujyuro returned home to his apartment, immersed himself in his studies, and before he knew it, it was time to go to work. Damn, he still had another job this night. The major cultural difference, though certainly not the only point of difference between city and country, was the use of time. It did not matter what part of the city he was in, time flowed far too quickly here. Failing to squeeze even a drop of knowledge from his textbooks, he put them away for the day before heading into town. Brutal. Brutal. He couldn't even just study and then go to sleep. He has another job. It's impossible. How is he supposed to keep up with school? There's no way. I mean, there is a way, but it's ridiculous. Goodness. Oh boy. This is giving some bullshit's about to happen. The night grew deeper as today turned into tomorrow. Though considering how normal Chapter 2 starts, this is probably just showing more about Soujyuro and his thoughts and stuff, so... Soujyuro reversed his collar to protect his neck from the bitter cold and began to make his way back home. Not a soul to be seen, no dogs scrounging for food, no late-night shoppers. Why would there be? The solitary convenience store in the area closed at 11 o'clock. He mustered what little energy he had to take in an especially deep breath. Man-made landmarks lined the deserted street. Garish blue fluorescent light, brighter than the stars above, illuminated the darkness. An unconscious sense of anxiety stirred within him. Yeah. Walking through the city at night. Yeah, I used to get off work downtown in my city. I was a banquet server. I would get off pretty late. I had to walk kind of far to where I had to park, and yeah, definitely get that little sense of anxiety walking through the city late at night, the lights. Don't really know if you're gonna run into anyone or something. Kind of just take it all in. Deep breaths.
情けない。夜が怖いのは当たり前じゃないか。
Yeah. A chill crept up his spine as he attempted to mask his weakness with words. Stay out of the dark. Stay away from deserted places. Whether it was for some deeper reason or perhaps the fact that he looked so helpless, everybody he had met in his life seemed to warn him those words. Wow, everybody. I mean, yeah. That's just good advice.
そうは言ってもしょうがないし、大体。
Yeah? I'd say so. What did that even mean, stay out of the dark? That's kind of silly. Yeah, saying it that way. Nowhere in the city was without lights. True, everywhere from the bustling train station to the remote residential areas was illuminated by artificial light, not least the main roads. Scary was scary, but this kind of fear was of a different sort than what he'd felt in the mountains. This is actually substantially more lit up than my city. Because you'll find plenty of areas like back roads or smaller, I guess more rural type areas that will just be, there'll be some stretches without light and it's just like, oh, don't go over there. Scary was scary, but this kind of fear was of a different sort than what he'd felt in the mountains. The most likely source of his area was the fact that this place was governed by starkly different rules. The way in which the city meted out justice was terribly imbalanced, and to the provincial Soujyuro, his lack of familiarity with the laws of the land terrified him far more than the dark. That is fair. It's like a whole new world for this young man. It's probably far scarier than just the dark. In the mountains, retribution came swiftly to those who broke the rules. Oh. Take a game trail, for example. Those who unwittingly trespassed on the animal kingdom's domain would, as a matter of course, be savaged by the native wildlife. Accordingly, in Sojiro's mind, an offender paid the price for one's mistakes immediately. It was not a matter of who punished whom, it was simply that the one who broke the rules would meet instant, tangible retribution. He felt that, in this regard, the laws of the city were far too ambiguous. One could meet their demise without ever knowing whether one was in the right or wrong. Yeah, you kind of just have to know, right? But how would you know as an outsider, without first getting in trouble?
けど、基本的には変わらないんだよな、多分。
Maybe not. To put it simply, retribution was delayed. To take the analogy a step further, back home in his village, no one individual had been given the responsibility of maintaining order. In the city, however, someone was put in charge, of punishing lawbreakers on behalf of the kind-hearted citizens who lived there. While crime and punishment in the mountains were synonymous, in the city the two were separated, and an unrelated person brought judgment after the crime had been committed. I guess that is pretty different. Entering places that must not be entered, seeing things that must not be seen. Breaking a law had consequences. Someone would come to exact justice for the law that was broken. The result of all this was that the safest way to survive the city was not to stick your nose in the affairs of others. That is the biggest thing right there. Mind your fucking business. When the people who cared about Soujyuro told him to stay away, they probably meant if you don't, nobody will be able to help you.
といけない。また近道しそうになった。
No matter how much of a nuisance these obstacles were, one could not just climb over a neighbor's fence even when one's apartment was just the other side. Yeah, you don't do that. I live in Texas. You really don't do that. If the people inside happened to be awake and call the police, nobody would lift a hand to help him. Because they would not call the cops here, let me tell you. Some people would. But some people are waiting to leave it at that, you know. With his misguided view of the city, Soujyuro once again ended his day in peace. Unable to fall asleep right away, he gazed out his window upon the night sky from the floor of his apartment. Look at that. It's so simple, but I love the way that's drawn and colored. The blues in particular. That's like, man, dark blues, like dark purpley. Blues like that are like that's my favorite shit. My favorite shades of color. The cityscape had caused him to tremble in fear when he first moved here. The convenience of solving almost any problem with the flip of a switch. The novelty of living a wall away from a complete stranger. It all disappeared into the night sky when he looked up. Unconsciously, he recalled his own words. What dim stars. What a cramped sky. Here there were no starry nights. I mean... maybe this is because pollution wasn't as bad back then, but I could legit look at the sky here and not see a single star. Like, the light pollution is fucking crazy. Like, this to me It's like countryside stars to me. Could he even survive here? The same misgivings since his first night continued to haunt him. His eyelids fell shut. Although he was fraught with worry, Sojiro's body felt the fatigue from his work and studies, and thus he fell fast asleep. Nice. Hey, the Town Story Extra 7 Days of Spinning read. Or read. Nice, chapter 1.5 done. I figured it would be just getting more insight into Sojiro's thoughts and talking about more of the differences, even in terms of like justice. Where he's from, it's more swift, it's more clear-cut. You don't go into the game trail or, you know, where the wildlife is, because they'll fucking maul you, you know? It's very involved. It's you and whoever you wronged, and justice, that's justice. Here, like the concept of police. Just things being different here for Soujyuro. I'm taking everything in and making sense of things. I just love the ambience too, the music, and just even this screen, man, I could just sit here.